Have you ever felt small in the face of giants? Today, we're diving into the life of David, a shepherd who defeated lions, bears, and even the giant Goliath, but also overcame his own fears, mistakes, and internal struggles. David's story isn't just about victories. It's about how God transforms our failures into strength and molds us into something greater. Stay with me, because this story will inspire you to face your own giants and discover the purpose God has for your life. Like David, you might be in a season of waiting or preparation. Now imagine this, a young shepherd, the son of Jesse, living a simple life in the fields. David was the youngest in his family, often overlooked while his brothers went off to war. But he had something special, a deep connection with God and unwavering courage. When Samuel was sent by God to anoint a new king, no one expected it to be David. He was young, slight, and seemingly insignificant. But God saw his heart. David was chosen not for his appearance, but for his heart. But could David have imagined what lay ahead? Certainly not. He continued tending his sheep until the day he was called to play the harp in King Saul's palace. And then came the decisive moment. Goliath, the Philistine giant, taunted Israel every day, and no one dared to face him. David, still a young shepherd, decided to confront the giant with nothing more than a sling and 5 stones. Imagine the courage that took. David faced Goliath with faith, even though he was smaller and less equipped. Pause for a moment and think, how many times have you faced a challenge that seemed impossible? Maybe it's a situation at work, a difficult relationship, or an internal struggle. David faced this too. David chose the path of mercy, even when he could have acted out of revenge. David achieved great victories, but he also made great mistakes. He fell in love with Bathsheba, another man's wife, and ended up orchestrating the death of her husband Uriah to cover his sin. When the prophet Nathan confronted David, he didn't try to justify his actions. He repented deeply, crying out, "Create in me a clean heart, O God." His story teaches us that no one is perfect, but genuine repentance opens the door to restoration. David acknowledged his mistakes and sought forgiveness. And then came the hardest moment of his life. His son Absalom, a consequence of his own sin, led a rebellion against him. David was forced to flee Jerusalem, weeping as he crossed the Jordan River. Imagine the weight of seeing the consequences of his choices impact his own family. Yet, he continued to trust God, even in the midst of pain. David faced the consequences of his choices, but he never lost faith. Even after so many falls and victories, David was still called a man after God's own heart. He wrote psalms that expressed his pain, joy, and dependence on God. He teaches us that we don't have to be perfect to be used by God. David wasn't perfect, but his heart was aligned with God. Now tell me, what did David's story teach you? Is there a giant you need to face? Share your reflection in the comments, because I want to hear your story. If this message touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Remember, like David, you too can face your giants with faith, courage, and the certainty that God is with you every step of the way. No matter how big the challenge, the victory is already yours when you trust in God's plan. Until the next video.